and we're going to talk all things real estate today.
Yes, we are. We are going to talk all things real estate.
Hey, Dan.
Hello, Kat. How are you doing?
I'm good. Hey, I'm going to stream this to my audience here on Facebook. This is where it gets awkward because I got to put in titles here so I can stream it to everybody. So, and I never know what to call our show, so I always call it the Kat and Dan Show. And by the way, guys, on TikTok, you guys go ahead and ask me questions regarding real estate or ask questions regarding lending. And I've got Dan over here on our live stream as well. You just can't see him on TikTok, but you can see both of us side by side on Facebook or YouTube. So if you guys want to go that route, let's see, talking all things. Whoops, I got a little too many L's in there. All things real estate, and tasty bites today.
What tasty bites are you talking about there, Kat?
Tasty bites. So, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm going live. Save changes. Okay. Tasty bites. So, well, I'm going to the Pie Dive Bar in Snohomish today. So,
are you going the vegetarian route on that one or not?
I'm not, but I will tell you they have a vegetarian pot pie. So when I was walking in town today in Snohomish, I was walking by the Pie Dive Bar, which I thought didn't open until 3 p.m. Actually, they're open now, folks. It's almost 3, but they were open at noon. I don't know what time they opened, whether it was 11 or 12, but they're open, and I'm going there today.
They have the meat. They have the good meat pies, right?
They have meat pies. They have I think it's a chicken enchilada pie. They've got a traditional meat pie. They've got another one that's macaroni and cheese and brisket.
Oh, that sounds good.
For people, really, really good. I ordered it because it was. I just wanted to try something different. And I thought I've never even heard of something like that. So it was really good. They have this most amazing beet green salad that they serve with their pot pies. And so anyway, the beet salad is ridiculous. I mean, it's actually worth going just for the salad. It's that good. So, but then they have all the other pies. They got sweet pies, cream pies, fruit pies, any kind of pie you could dream up, they probably have there. And I'm not sure whether I'm going to have a sweet pie today because I've had savory pies in the past, but I don't know. They also have great cocktails. Just saying, they have the best cocktails.
Well, you know what those pies will go really well with because it's Friday afternoon. It sounds like those pies
would a whiskey drink.
Would go with the whiskey drink. Yes, it would. Maybe a Manhattan.
Something similar to a Manhattan.
Or similar to a Manhattan. Not quite. Yeah, that's not quite whiskey, isn't it?
They have amazing they have their own cocktails that are they've come up with, and they're just exquisite, really.
Just delicious, huh?
Yeah, just delicious. So anyway, that's the tasty bites I was referring to for today. But yeah, starting right off with the Pie Dive Bar. Love you guys. I also love the Snohomish Pie Company right next door. They supplied all my pies for my Thanksgiving pie giveaway this year. So,
man,
how many pies did I buy?
You bought a lot.
I bought $1,000 in pies, I think, to give away. Anyway, side note, realtors, what do you do with them?
Oh,
hey guys, hi Rose, hi Patty. Anyway, so what do you think, Dan? Should we
let's start off with
my notes here for the live. I got all the juicy stats.
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's start off with the news of the day. How's that? News of the day.
Okay, Dan. What? How about interest rates?
Well, let's start off with the employment report real quick. Yeah, the news of the day. January employment report.
You can't change the schedule with Dan. Dan.
I bring out my trusty clipboard here. I said the first up.
He's got them in
news of
order.
the day.
He's got
I've
the
got
pages are in order. He's not changing that shit. And you know what? I can roll with that.
Well, I'll tell you what. The reason I wanted to mention it is that the payrolls came in today. The employment report came in today, and they were much higher than anyone ever was even dreaming of. Right, and so they were double the expected amount, and then some. And so
Boy,
it was a really interesting situation because if you took a look here, I'll put something here on the stage here. So if you took a look at today's 10-year treasury note, which you could see right over here, you could see how it just spiked out. This spike on the far right hand side, that's all today, right? But what happened is it went, just fell out of bed the previous 4 days and then just spiked right up today because they were looking at that 353,000 in payrolls. But having said that, we'll see what happens next week. And the reason I say that, it's not baked in, nothing is baked in the cake right now. Because if you take a look at underneath the hood, so to speak, it was a very unimpressive report for 300. It was all in the seasonal adjustments and population controls and some of the model stuff that they put together. And if you take a look at some of the well, let's see here. Let's just take a look at this over the past year. One thing that's a little bit concerning, more than a little bit concerning, is that over the last year, all the job gains that you've had have all been part-time. Full-time, if you've been full-time, jobs have been losing, and all the part-time jobs have been gaining. And so as a result, wages are down quite a bit. So this was a 1 month, it had a good headline number on it. It did hit interest rates a little bit today, but I don't know how long that's going to last. So that's going to be the real question for next week. I guess that's my way of saying I'm kind of dubious that it's going to last for a long period of time. I am, but we'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. And then just to kind of update where we're at interest rate wise, I put together this little thing on interest rates, and right now, as we came to the live stream, we were looking on a conventional rate of 6.97%, and that was with either 20 or 10% down. The 10% down, you just have a mortgage insurance to go with that. You could even go 3% down if you wanted to. It would change your mortgage insurance rates, but that's about it. And then you've got your FHA. That's down at just at 6%, basically 5.99%.
So FHA is a pretty good way to go right now, huh?
Oh yeah, it's cheap. FHA, even with 20% down, if you're looking just at the payments, that's going to be a cheaper way to go than conventional, even with 20% down. Yes, which is kind of interesting. By the way,
you can share our live stream with your audience.
I didn't know that. I did not know that.
I got a notification from TikTok saying, "Hey, invite your audience to share your live stream." So, yeah.
Well, let me hang on here. Maybe I should go on live on TikTok and.
Are you? Oh, you're not live on TikTok right now, Dan? Oh,
no.
You should go. You get your phone up there and get yourself live. Hi, Steven. Hi, John.
Hang on here. How do I do this? Live.
I love it.
We go right here.
Who else we got? Hi, guys.
All right. I'll go live.
Thanks for joining. Dan is going to go live separately on his TikTok as well. So Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage is joining me today, or I'm joining him. It's the Cat and Dan show, so we're joining each other. He's in Renton. I'm in Snohomish. So
I don't know if I'd put it that way, but go ahead. That's all right.
Anyway, so we're talking all things real estate today, and he's going over some of the big numbers, interest rates, and things like that. So just to catch some of you guys up that just joined.
So all my viewers on TikTok, of which I've got 0 right now, but we're gonna go. Oh, wait a minute. No, still.
Hi, Linda.
Okay, let's move on.
Dan's counting his viewers. I can't be bothered with that. I am trying to see you guys' names though, so I lean in a little closer because even with these peepers, challenging.
Let's see here. Let's see. Did I have anything else to kind of mention?
We were
Oh, yeah. We wanted to talk about one more thing, and
Yeah.
then we'll get over to your stuff because it's much more interesting.
Yeah.
But one thing people, kind of want to know just on a real simple basis, what are the elements of a loan? What goes into so I put together a little
a loan application, right, Dan?
Yeah, what goes into a loan application? And so what I put together is really the basics of a loan approval. Okay. And I put it into basically 4 squares and a summary section. But basically, you've got your borrower information. You're just giving your name, address, all that kind of information, social security number, date of birth, stuff like that, so they can pull your credit report. And then you're going to put in your subject property address, the property that you're purchasing. And then we're going to pull your credit report. And the 2 things everyone gets very wrapped up in the credit score. It's pretty important. But also what they're really looking at is the lines of credit that you've got. Are you maxed out in your lines of credit? Do you have a little bit of room on your credit cards? And the whether you're maxed out or not, it kind of goes into your credit score anyway. But they do like to see that breakdown. And and then they're going to look at your employment, your income. What type of employment do you have? Is it W-2 or self-employed? And what you're looking for in that regard is also, do you have bonus income? Are you a student? If you're bonus income is going to be more of an issue right now. I'm just telling you, I'm hearing more stories about underwriters cracking down a bit on bonus income. If you want to know the truth. They're sending out forms to the employers. Do you expect the bonus income to continue and all that kind of stuff?
So are you talking about overtime, Dan?
Yeah, overtime. Well, overtime is part of it, and then like if they hit their bonuses, more of it's overtime where we're running into the underwriters making double sure that it's going to continue. But both overtime and quarterly, if you have like annual bonuses, quarterly bonuses, stuff like that.
So you cut out there for a second, Dan. Are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can now.
Oh, okay. No, it's just the underwriters on bonus income. They're going to be looking at, basically, not only overtime, but also, if you're hitting annual bonuses and whether they expect those bonuses to continue. And I got to tell you, there are situations where loans are getting they're having trouble. This is just from the field, and I'm not talking about my loans, but some of the we have our own internal web page or internal page on Facebook from the different loan officers, and that's one of the themes that I'm noticing right now is that they are beginning to have some issues with underwriters and bonus income and overtime income. So just keep that in mind. And then they're also going to be the underwriter is going to look at the assets that you have. I mean, just common sense stuff. How much do you keep? How much do you have in your checking? Do you have enough for a down payment? Things like that. Generally speaking, I know a lot of focus is put on loan to value, but how much down payment you have, and a lot of folks still have it in their head that they need 20% down, which is not anywhere near the case. You can do a conventional loan with 3% down. You could do a FHA loan with 3.5% down. So on a 3% down on an $800,000 property, you're going to be looking at what's that, $24,000 as a down payment. It's pretty reasonable, for an $800,000 house. And although right now, as we were talking, the interest rates do favor the FHA loans right now. They truly do. But But what we're looking for ultimately from there, once we have all these items, the two things that we'd be then doing is going through and putting the loan uh, the loan application together with that information, and then we put it into an automated underwriting engine. It's called AUS, and as long as if you can get an approval going on the AUS, the rest of it typically is pretty easy. The issue is going to come up if you don't get an automated approval, and then you have to go into what they call manual underwriting, and that's kind of an entirely different set of rules, right?
Gotcha.
But for the most part, just to throw some numbers out there to clarify on the underwriting approvals, the automated approvals, it's going to depend on a combination of everything we just talked about, your credit score. If you're at a 740 or 760 or 780 credit score, the automated underwriting engine is going to look at you differently than if you're at a 620, for example, right?
Right.
The amount of reserves, they'll be more lenient on somebody with the higher credit score, for example, right? But it's not that much more difficult to get an approval, even with a 620, 640, 660 credit score. You just have to make sure at that point, obviously something has gone a little bit amiss at some point in the recent past, to get your credit score at that point, to 620, 640, 660. But, a lot of times people get things fixed, everything's good, and it's just sort of a temporary situation, and everything gets fixed, but the credit scores don't quite reflect it yet. But it might get reflected into your liability section because you've been paying down debt and things like that. So the credit score hasn't really caught up with reality. But the important part there is that on your debt to income ratio, and I should explain what the it's very simple. Debt to income just takes the monthly costs of your income, or the monthly income that you're getting before tax, and then they divide it by the liabilities, the monthly liabilities that you have, hence debt to income. And that is probably the single most important driver of approvals. Quite frankly, that's the king of whether you're going to get approved or not.
Right.
And then like the credit score goes into. So if you have your debt to income ratios in line for the most part, and you have reasonable credit scores, and you've got an LTV that fits the underwriting guidelines, you're probably going to be in good shape. It's not as difficult to get approved as people think. It's actually quite a bit easier. And we have a lot of different programs that are available for different situations. Different categories are different, right? I mean, everyone's got their own, loan scenario, their own story to tell. Right. And, sometimes maybe a self-employed borrower might have more difficulties with a conventional underwriting program, and might want to look at some of the alternatives that they have, like bank statement programs and things like that, to get approved. It might turn out that way. But the important thing is simply to get the approval, get a good rate, and get the house of your dreams, basically.
That's right.
So that's basically that's about it from our end of things. And the one thing I was looking at when you sent me the information is just how tight the housing market is right now. And I don't know which county you want to start with. You want to start with?
I will start with King.
King. Okay, let's see.
So King County, 0.9 month supply of inventory, and that has gone down significantly in the last couple weeks.
Really Wait a minute.
You have Snohomish up there.
Hold on just a moment here.
Hold all the horses.
Hold the horses.
I don't spell King County with an S. That's the other county.
I know.
That's the one I live in.
Hang on.
You live in the K County.
Yes, I do. I live in King County.
In the King County.
Hang on. I got to just take off the some of the slides I had up. They have limitations for how many slides. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
so
we're gonna.
the inventory is starting to get snapped up in King County.
Okay, give me about 1 minute here, if you don't mind, Kat. Hang
Oh,
on, hang on here.
trying to give you guys a preview. Just saying.
Okay, we'll get that.
Dan wants me to be cooperative.
King, King County.
Hi, Brenda. Hi,
Oh, I
Julie.
got that up there. All right.
Hi, guys. Thanks for joining.
Hang on here.
I'm going to go through the county data here in just a few minutes. I'm waiting for my cohort, Dan Mellis, with Nexa Mortgage to get his slides straight, because we're live streaming on Facebook and YouTube, as well as on our individual TikTok accounts. So we've got a live stream going. So
It's a miracle.
wow, stats by King County. There it is. The graphic.
Look at King County.
Appeared. So yeah, so 0.9 months supply of inventory for King County right now. I actually pulled exactly the number of active listings. It's down to 693 listings. That's not very many for all of King County. So in the summer, we see listings well over 1,000, 1,300. So 693 is a fairly low number for available listings in King County. And you guys, the data that I pull is only single family residential detached. So I do not include townhomes. Also not on leased homes, not on leased land. There are some Indian reservations around that we have some properties that get sold on leased land, so it doesn't include those. And also don't usually include like estates like 20 to 20 plus acres and more, right? That doesn't really fit our data set. So, or waterfront. So those things are excluded. And I also don't include manufactured homes because, again, those are different kind of animal. So single family residential detached is the data that I pulled. So 693 single family homes available.
Okay.
And not new construction as well, right? I don't include new construction in my data. So just so everybody knows, that's where my data comes from. And I pull that same data set every week so I can update people. And it's really, I started doing this for my sellers, right? So I could give my sellers an idea of what to expect when we go to put their home on the market. So I really wanted the most updated information to give my sellers and also my buyers so they could be realistic with their offers. If you've got 50% of sellers getting under contract in the first 7 days, then that there's a really good chance you're competing if that house just came on the market, right? And buyers are always looking at all the new listings. The new listings get most of the attention. So, but for King County this week, 47% of sellers set offer review dates. So setting an offer review date is definitely coming back into vogue. Sellers are feeling a lot more confident in King County about setting an offer review date.
47? Did you say 47% this week?
Yeah, 47%.
Set an offer review date. That's a big number.
And that's up from the previous several months. So King County feeling more confident about setting offer review dates, and they should, and I'll tell you why. A full 60% of them got under contract within the first 7 days on the market. And that's if they listed, January 14th through January 20th. So we got 60% of sellers getting under contract within 7 days on the market in King County. And it even gets better for 2 weeks on the market. We got 67% of sellers in King County if they listed between January, December, if they listed their home between December 31st and January 13th, we had 67% of sellers in King County get under contract within the first 14 days. So really, really good, strong numbers for King County. King County clicking along at a very nice pace. Market is, so we're looking at, you guys, we're looking at multiple offers, probably on just about 60% of the homes that come on the market. So over half the listings are likely getting more than one offer. So that's something for buyers to be aware of. And sellers, you're in the driver's seat again, but you don't want to overprice your property. So you got to be careful because you don't want to miss that first 7 days The reason is only an additional 7% went under contract, the next 7 days. And so that is something to pay attention to. So really the big week is that first week. You don't want to miss that first 7 days.
Right. And I'm noticing the month supply of inventory. That's under 1 month.
It's
there,
under
isn't it?
1 month again. It hasn't been under 1 month for quite some time for King County. It had been creeping up. And recently it's really come down. So we've had quite a few more homes get under contract over the last couple of weeks than actually went on the market. So that's chewing up inventory. To have it drop from 1.1 to 0.9 is pretty significant, as you might imagine. And there was only 1 week that was an anomaly where we actually had more listings come on the market. I think that was the first week of January, or the second week, where we had actually more listings come on the market than buyers bought.
How many active listings do we have again this week?
693 in King County.
693. Huh?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And if I where's my stats book? I was going to tell you, I just was going to give you guys an idea of how many actually went under contract. This is kind of fun information. It's not data that I typically report on, but I do pull it. So in King County, so last week in King County, we had 205 homes that were listed. Those were the new listings last week. So that's 7 days ago, right? Within the last 7 days. And then buyers picked up 227 homes. They got a contract on 227. So we actually had 22 more homes go under contract than actually came on the market. So that would be for the last week of January, right?
So the inventory is shrinking a little bit.
The inventory is still being eaten up. Yes. Yep. So it may actually, because of that, our MSI may actually go down again this next time. We'll see.
Ooh. You want to move over to Snohomish?
Yeah. The truth is, though, you guys, it's a lot of multiple offers out there. And, it's not like it was in 2021 or early 2022 where we're, escalating up 20% yet. That's not what's happening quite yet. But it is fairly common to see up to 5 to 10% over asking price with just a couple buyers competing. Because we're not looking at 20 people wanting the same house most of the time. Now, if something's underpriced and it looks perfect, then you may wind up with 20 offers, but because there are a lot of buyers out there. Obviously, there was over 200 this past week that picked up a property, that got into contract. And I think that's interesting. Let me gotta wet my whistle. Hi, TikTokers. Hi, Galina, Cheryl, Naeem. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. Talking all things real estate. Now we're going to talk Snohomish County. That's where I live. So, Snohomish County is a shocker. Snohomish County has 0.6 months supply of inventory, and that is the lowest level in a very long time. So, I got to tell you, that's low, Dan.
How much is it again? 0.7?
0.6. 0.6. That's low.
I had to hang on. I just took off my reading glasses. I got to put them up just to see this. Yeah. See this for myself.
This is it. So Snohomish County, you guys, is the hottest county. So I'm looking at 6 counties today. I do this every week. These are my pet counties. I either have clients living in them or there's a reason why I care what's going on. My daughter lives in Kitsap. I've got clients in Skagit. I actually have clients in Whatcom too. I pull that data, but I don't normally report on it. But they're sort of similar to Skagit County, their data set. But I've got clients down in Mason County, and I love Mason County. I've got clients in Pierce County, and King and Snohomish. My office is in King and my house is in Snohomish. So there you go. But that's, I pull the data for those counties because I care either about investment opportunities or other reasons. So
I'll tell you what, speaking of investment opportunities, and I'm just going to throw this out there.
Yeah, let's spill the tea. We have one we're going to go over today, you guys. We've got a house down in Aberdeen, right, Dan? On East Street, North East Street.
Yes, yes, that's right.
And it's cheap.
Yes, we do. It is cheap.
I think it's listed at 275.5. And
Yeah.
of course, I always think all investment properties are overpriced. So of course, I've run my numbers a little lower. So we ran it at 260, and it actually sort of does pencil. I really don't mind that one. I actually think that one is pretty good. So anyway, we'll get to that. But Snohomish County, you want to hear about Snohomish County? Snohomish County is
I do.
on fire.
Crazy.
It's on fire. Okay. So they only had 218. They've only got 218 properties on the market for single family residential detached, not new construction, just to qualify that.
Wow.
So, yeah, so their listings are way down. I mean, 218. That's so low. So 50% of sellers in Snohomish County set offer review dates this last week, and that is to be expected. Wait till you hear the numbers. Dan, 50% of sellers set offer review dates in Snohomish County this last week. 50.
Wow.
So
that's a huge number for Snohomish.
It is
well,
a huge
it's
number.
A huge number for it's bigger number than King. Wasn't King only at 40?
47.
47. So that's even beats King. That's
Right.
pretty impressive.
And for this time of year, right? So the numbers are going up quickly this year. And so, for Snohomish County, we had 65% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days if they listed between January 13th. No. If they listed between January 14th and January 20th, to do a cheat check. So 65% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days in Snohomish County if they listed between January 14th and January 20th. Incredible numbers. It's 73% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they were listed between December 31st and January 13th. I always have to look the first or second counties. I always got to keep checking my sheets here. But so 73%. That's also a big number. So just about 3/4 of all sellers are getting under contract within not all sellers, but the new listings coming on the market are getting under contract within the first 14 days on the market. So 3/4. So you've only got 27% that are missing that. So if you miss those first 2 weeks, you did something wrong, probably.
Well,
most homes are getting under contract.
And the thing is, it sounds to me that if you follow Kat Howard's advice what is it, an 11-point checklist?
Isn't it 12, Dan? I feel like it's 12.
Is it 12 now?
12 steps to listing your house.
But
yeah.
I mean, you'll sell your house within 7 days. Yes, you've got your formula.
Yeah, I've got my formula for getting your house ready for market.
Everything is kind of it all makes sense. And if you follow it, you stage the house properly, get the new front door, do all the stuff that you're talking about.
The modern doorknob. You want to have the
modern door
handle. So not knob,
the handle,
door handle with the pretty new hardware. It makes a big difference.
I mean, if you get your house all set up and prepped and ready to sell right now in this market, you're probably going to sell it right off the chute, right at the first week. I'll bet you.
It's a great market for sellers, Dan. I mean, my gosh, you've got 3/4 of sellers getting under contract within the first 2 weeks. You're probably doing something wrong if you don't get under contract within the first 2 weeks. And even most of those are getting under contract within the first 7 days.
Well,
so those are all multiple offers, guys. Those are, that 67% probably represents just about every single situation as probably a multiple offer.
Well,
there could be a couple one-offs that are not, but you also might have multiple offers in the second week as well.
As you've mentioned, the magic is really, it's not necessarily having to have 20 offers, but it's having 2 offers. So at least you have 2
One extra offer is all you need.
The extra offer. That's right.
You only need one other offer to have multiple offers. And at that point, you could get 10, 20, 30, $40,000 more for your property, maybe $100,000 more, depending on how crazy those people want to get with their bidding more. Sometimes you get a couple people that, really are more dead set. They don't want to overpay and they're worried about overpaying. If there's only two people, then you may have two people that are stubborn, and so you wind up with full price essentially, and maybe getting better terms with the second offer. But most of the time as a seller, you're going to get more money for your home if you do get more than one offer. And I got to tell you, staging
is important, isn't it?
Staging is important. And the other thing is that pre-inspection. Have the sewer scoped and get a pre-inspection. Those are essential to getting multiple offers. And this, you guys, this is the market for multiple offers for sellers. You guys need to hear this. Have your house inspected before you go on the market, so that you can give that inspection report to the buyers. And that way they can feel free to go ahead and submit an submit an offer on your home without requiring an inspection and contingency, right?
Yeah.
So, and that also saves them money. They don't have to hurry up, scramble, and try to get an inspection before your offer review date. And it also saves wear and tear on your house, having multiple inspectors go through your house. You really don't want to do that. You really want one inspector. That's all you need. You hire them. You, the seller, you hire them. Don't leave it to the buyer. And most buyers will accept the seller's inspection as though they, they'll waive their financing, or not. They'll waive their inspection contingency. So
the thing is, somebody's going to order that inspection. It's going to be ordered. It might as well be you.
Well, there are, of course, you guys, if it's multiple offers, you do have people that are willing to waive the inspection, but there's a risk to that as well. So, we worry about lawsuits down the road because the buyer did not have their own inspection, because they felt pressured, or, whatever the case may be. So the inspection is really for the protection of the buyer and the seller. It's not one-sided.
Right.
It's not one-sided. It's for both.
Okay, let's move over to...
We want to talk about Pierce County. I know you love Pierce County, Dan.
Wait a minute. Pierce County. Yes, let's talk to... Hang on. I got to find Pierce County in my... Hang on. Where are we here? Pierce
Try the no glasses challenge. Okay. How's that? Okay, you want me to you want me to give you the stats with no glasses? Somebody said try the no glasses challenge. You're funny.
Oh, wait a second here. Hang on.
I can do it if I can do like this. And look how big my print is.
Hold on just a second here. Pierce County is coming up here. Hang on.
Hi, guys. Thanks for joining. Hey, we're here with Dan Mellis with Nexa Mortgage. I like to just kind of remind you guys what's happening, because I know a lot of you just tuned in. Okay. So he's the lender I use for a lot of my transactions. He takes really good care of my clients. He has a lot of very interesting loan programs, which I find fascinating, and my clients seem to benefit from. And then I am Kat Howard with Windermere in Woodinville. And I, of course, am the real estate side of things, the realtor side of things. And you want to buy a dream home? I'm your gal. I'll go to Port Townsend. I'll go to Bellingham, Gig Harbor. You folks in Gig Harbor that you bought houses from me, you know I mean you. Great view. Hi, Heather.
Well, I'll tell you what.
Ports have I sold?
Well, we got the Pierce County stats finally up there.
We're back in business, guys. Okay,
we're back in business. Yes,
got the graphics up for Pierce County. So Pierce County is down to 1 month supply of inventory, you guys. They also had 693 homes listed. So ironically, it's the same number as King County. That's how many active listings are on the market in Pierce County. Let me double check that number since it's the same. No, actually, I wrote it down wrong. It's actually 593. I typed it in wrong. So Pierce County has 593 active listings. So a few less than King County, which makes sense. let's see. 12% of sellers in Pierce County set offer review dates. 40% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 14th and January 20th. And 55% of sellers went under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 31st and January 13th. So the Pierce County market is picking up significantly. So we've got over half the sellers getting under contract within the first 2 weeks on the market, and that is an improvement. So they're slowly picking up. Snohomish County is off like a rocket ship. You know?
I'll tell you what, Pierce County's kind of looking like King County looked 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. Yep. But they're improving. They are improving. So they're definitely on the uptick. My daughter and I have a listing coming up in Puyallup, and we were more nervous a month ago. We're a lot less nervous now. So, the market is shaping up nicely.
Yeah.
We're going to let enough time go by where it, before we relist it, it was listed by another agent. We're going to let enough time go by where the days on market start over, because they pulled it off the market for a variety of reasons. And then, and they've left it off the market, and they had a little bit of work they needed to do. So,
well, you know the
they're
beautiful
getting it inspected, by the way, you guys. So they're listening to my daughter and I. My daughter's a realtor over in Kitsap. So
I'll tell you the beautiful thing about looking at these numbers. If you're a flipper, right, or you're putting up some spec homes or something like that, and you're going to be, building now, selling in August or something like that. Boy, I'll tell you what, I just don't see, and maybe I'm dead wrong, but I just don't see with the numbers this tight, how it's going to loosen up enough. I think it's going to be very profitable for flippers this year. It just looks so tight right now.
Well, prices are going up, Dan, and there's no question. And we get to Kitsap County, we can talk a little more about that. But I mean, for builders that are just getting going, or are going to start building their plat sometime in the next 2 to 3 months, and they've got maybe houses that will be finished by maybe June, July, August, somewhere in there. I think it's going to be a banner year. And if interest rates tick down at all, and a lot of builders out there are offering some incentives through a preferred lender to buy down the interest rate either temporarily or permanently. And those programs are very successful at attracting buyers. And so worst case scenario, builders have to continue to still buy interest rates down for buyers. But that's at a cost of between $20,000 and $40,000 probably total in concessions. And that way they can maintain their pricing. And I think prices are going to continue to go up this year. And they're already going up. They're going up now. So, January, we're seeing, I think the numbers at the end of January to be reflected. Well, January numbers will be reflected. January closings will be reflected in February data are at the end of February, right? So we have a month to wait to see how much the housing market has moved up this month. We have another 30 days to wait, but it'll be interesting to see that. Because I believe that, with roughly, half the houses, having probably multiple offers in most of these counties for a good portion of the month, I think you're going to see the average sales price go up. And I think you're going to see the days on market come down.
Yeah.
So
I think you're right.
Very
absolutely right. Yeah.
So Pierce County,
Pierce County,
12% sellers offer review dates. I can't remember if we finished Pierce County. I think we did. 40% of sellers got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 14th and January 20th. And then we've got 55% of sellers in Pierce County getting under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed between December 31st and January 13th. So again, Pierce County doing quite well. And I guess that's when we started talking about the listing that my daughter and I have coming out, which we can't really talk too much about, but phantom listing that we've got coming on.
It's on its way.
One, but that's one of them. It's a Pierce County listing. Okay.
All right. So next county up. Which one you want to do?
Mason's
Mason.
next. Hi guys. Hi TikTokers. Hi Wayne.
I have Mason right there at my.
Oh my goodness, Dan is up with the graphics. He's got the graphics on.
Oh goodness.
Okay. All right. Let's go. Mason County, 1.9 month supply of inventory. So I believe those numbers are still going down. They have the highest inventory, month supply of inventory for the counties that we actually look at on a weekly basis. But it is coming down significantly. They're usually over 2, I believe. So we've got, we only have 85 listings in Mason County. There's only 85. So the population is much less. 17% of sellers in Mason County did set offer review dates last week. We got 29% of sellers went under contract within the first 7 days if they listed their home between January 14th and January 20th. And a shocking 69% of sellers went under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between December 31st and January 13th. And for Mason County, that's amazing. That's amazing. That's almost 70% gone in the first 2 weeks of the new listings that came on the market the first half of January. Wow. Right? Are you ignoring me, Dan?
No, I was trying to get off of TikTok.
Oh, why don't you like your TikTokers?
Yeah, I do, but I've had enough.
He's had enough. Huh. All right. Okay, Skagit County. Let's talk about Skagit County, Dan.
Sorry about that.
1.7 months supply of inventory in Skagit County. So that is also going down.
Wait a minute. Hang on.
He wants to put his graphic. Okay, it's on.
There we go.
Graphic is up. You guys on Facebook and YouTube, you can see it. TikTokers, you have to take my word for it. It's there. It's Stats by Cat. So if you subscribe to Stats by Cat, you get it in your email. And it just went out about an hour ago. So for the week. Okay. Skagit County, the 1.7 month supply of inventory. They've got 101 active listings on the market right now. 30% of sellers in Skagit County went under contract in the first 7 days on the market if they listed between January 14th and January 30th. No, I didn't say that right. No, 30% set off for review dates. 23%. 23% of sellers went under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between January 14th and January 20th. So 23% in Skagit County. So good numbers. But again, that 14-day data gets a bit better. It's 43% of sellers in Skagit County got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between December 31st and January 13th. So still not a bad market in Skagit County, just a bit slower.
But it's improving.
It is improving, you guys. It is improving. And Skagit County it goes in little fits and spurts. They have some weeks where a bunch of homes just fly off the market of the new listings. So again, it's a lower population, so less homes. So the data can vary widely for Skagit County, just like Mason County. So, and finally, we have Kitsap County.
Oh, Kitsap County. Here we are.
We have 1.1 month supply of inventory in Kitsap County.
Oh boy.
We have 179 active listings on the market, single family, detached, not new construction, not manufactured. So not a lot of listings. 179 is not a lot of listings.
No.
21% of sellers set offer review dates last week in Kitsap County. 30% of sellers in Kitsap County got under contract within the first 7 days on the market if they listed their home between January 14th and January 20th. And 41% of sellers got under contract within the first 14 days on the market if they listed their home between December 31st and January 13th. So first half of January, we saw a good number, good 41% of sellers got under contract within the first couple of weeks. So Kitsap County is a little slower coming to life, but it's still improving. Their market is still improving.
I'll tell you what, those King County and Snohomish County numbers, man, they were really impressive. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
so
tight.
Snohomish County is absolutely been performing at the highest level for sellers. And I want to emphasize that that's for sellers and for new listings coming on the market. So Snohomish County consistently with more homes selling the first 7 days on the market than King County. The percentage is higher in Snohomish County by a lot of times a significant margin. Right now they're pretty close, but we got 73% of sellers in Snohomish County getting under contract within the first 14 days on the market. And that's 3/4 of all new listings coming on the market. That's market. That's
Well,
really
hey, I got a quick question for you.
You got a question, Dan?
I do.
Okay.
I was wondering if you wanted to walk through. There's this investment property over in Aberdeen. It's on E Street.
Yeah, you want to do that?
Did you want to go through that? Because that looked pretty interesting.
Sure. I mean, I got this other section here too, mastering the bidding wars. But you want to do that?
Do you want to go through the bidding wars? Let's do
Yeah.
that.
I was going to give you guys a little some tips, right? So for the situations that are out there now, which include, let's face it, competing for the same home with other buyers. Right. And so we were going to give you guys some tips for that. And so I want to start with, it's called Mastering the Bidding Wars, Strategies for Winning. If you're subscribed to my Stats by Cat, you get that in your email today. So let me know, DM me, shoot me a comment if you want me to include you on my email mailing list. You can get those weekly. And let me know what county you live in, since that matters. So, first thing is for buyers, get, fully underwritten, preferably. If you're going to be competing, which right now, if you're going to try to buy a home right now going forward, you probably will be competing. And, so getting fully underwritten means getting completely through the underwriting process, not just a pre-approval. Everybody else is going to have a pre-approval. What we want is we want you to get fully underwritten if you want that winning advantage, right?
Right.
So get fully underwritten. I'll buzz through these fairly quickly. I think there's like 10 or 12 of them. But anyway, set a realistic budget, right? So listen, you may end up having to escalate over asking price. So you don't want to, if you only qualify to 700, you don't want to be looking at homes that are 700 to 750 because there's not going to be negotiating down. So you want to really take a look at what your budget is and start looking at things 600 to 650, just assuming you might have to bid up to 10% over for the right house. I mean, I don't want you buying a house that you don't love. So, but if it's a house that you love and you don't mind buying into the market, that's what I call it myself when you have to pay a little bit more than asking price. I call that buying into the market. It's your fee, essentially, to have an opportunity to buy a home in a market that has far more buyers than sellers. So, if it's $50,000, then if you want to know what that's costing you, you can talk to your lender and find out what the $50,000 is going to cost you extra per month. But at least you can get into a house, right? That's right. I call that buying into the market. So, but don't start at where you're qualified at. You got to start much lower so you have room to tack on in case you need to escalate. And I'm not telling you have to escalate. I'm just saying that in an average transaction right now, there's a good chance as a buyer and a buyer's agent that you will be escalating. You will be competing. Let's put it that way. You don't have to escalate. You can choose your own how to approach the multiple offer situation your way. But escalating is one way to try to win, to secure a home to purchase, right? So the next one is, hey guys, leverage your agent. Leverage their experience, right? So I've been doing this for a long time, and other agents get mad when you say how many years, because if they haven't been in the business that long, then they get all jealous, right? I see all kinds of TikTok videos about people saying, stop saying how many years you've been in the business. Well, if you've been in the business almost 25 years, then you don't really mind saying that, right? So I think I'm entitled to say that. I've been in the business since 1999, just so you guys know. And so I've been in these multiple offer situations many, 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 many times for years and years. And those situations have changed. The market norms have changed over the course of 25 years. we used to not actually bid houses up over asking price. Do you know that, Dan?
I did not know that.
You could get 15 offers on a house back in 2005, and you would just pick the most solid offer. Like, you just pick the best one, the one that was cash or one that closed in 10 days and wasn't asking for an inspection because they already had an inspection. So, this whole bidding things over asking price is a relatively new phenomenon. So, at least over the last 5 to 10 years is a relatively, when it kind of started, and going wildly over asking price is really relatively recent, last few years.
I think we talked about it last week, but I don't remember if we did or not. But boy, I'll tell you, the first time I had one over ask, one of my clients bidding over ask is over in Seattle. And I couldn't believe it. I was in shock. I said, "You've got to be crazy."
Yeah.
But nope, that's what it took to buy the house. And as you look back on it, boy, they got it cheap compared to where it went.
Well, that's the thing. So, it's disconcerting at the time to think that you would put an extra 10 or 20% more towards a home than what it's listed at. And the only justification is to actually buy your way into the market and actually get your home for your family to live in and have a home. So you can't start enjoying appreciation on the home until you actually break even. But, with the kinds of appreciation we've had in the recent years, it's not taken people very long. So even if you bought in 2021, in most cases, you're back up to par, or you are actually have some appreciation already. Right. And so even if you paid way too much for your home back in 2021, early 2022, you're still probably fine by now. It takes a few years sometimes to absorb, what you paid over, but you got into a place, and if you got it in 2021, you got a dreamy interest rate, I might add, or early 2022. So I have clients that purchased, and I felt like they paid a little bit too much for their homes in early 2022, late 2021, but they got the dreamy interest rates. So their payments are way less than if they paid a couple $100,000 less for those same homes. Yeah. So, in the long run, they paid more for the house than they would have maybe a year later when things started to go south, late 2022. But in the long run, they've got this low payment. So, and the market will catch up, and it does catch up. So yeah, it's uncomfortable right now. We have both things going on. We've got multiple offers and higher interest rates. That feels a little uncomfortable. But we also have the situation where we're, hovering around 7% interest rates. And there's a good chance that we'll see those come back over the next year or two. And then you have the opportunity to refinance. So now hopefully you've paid a little less for the house than if I don't know, this year looks kind of dicey going forward. You might end up having to escalate quite a bit. But anyway,
on that note, that leads us to number 4, because
yes, I know I'm trying to hurry it along, Dan. I'm sorry.
But that leads into the escalation.
Yeah, so pick a good agent to negotiate. Have them negotiate your transaction, right? So make sure you're working with someone that's experienced, and you can always pick me.
Okay. Yes.
So when you are looking at a home to buy, you want to make sure that you are moving fairly quickly, but diligently. So you don't want to put in an offer before you've completely taken a look at the inspection thoroughly, if there's one been provided, or you've reviewed all the available documents, right, before you start waiving contingencies. So you do want to move very, very quickly, but you want to make sure that you've done your due diligence. Don't start getting sloppy, right? So, right. And then another thing, like we've been talking about, is consider including an escalation clause. Be flexible on your closing date if you can be. So, if the seller is wanting to get out of there in 2 weeks, then maybe you do a 2-week close if you can financially. If the seller is wanting a longer close, maybe you do a 45 or 60-day close. So try to be flexible. Home inspection, you can always have an inspection before the offer review date if the seller has not provided one. That way you can still have an inspection and make an offer without an inspection contingency. So, and as far as other contingencies like title, and you never, was I going to say about it? Other contingent? You want to be careful before you start waiving other contingencies. So if your offer is contingent on reviewing HOA documents, you do want to make sure that you're comfortable with that HOA before you submit an offer without a contingency, including HOA review, right? So, and same thing with title. You want to take a look at the title report before you start waiving title contingencies. I always think it's silly to waive title contingencies because no one's going to walk away based on title typically, unless something comes up and it gives you a framework with what, notification of the other party and things like that to work within. So I like to keep title contingencies in there. I never waive those. So I don't recommend my clients waive them. I should put it like that. So escrow and earnest money. So escrow and earnest money, you guys, you can always put down more earnest money, and your earnest money is protected by contingencies, right? So as long as you have a legal excuse to get out of the contract, you get your earnest money back. So you can, in some cases, sway a seller about your intentions of purchasing, about your, how certain you are that you want to buy that home by increasing your earnest money amount. Right, Dan?
That's a good idea. It really is. Because
it doesn't cost you any more money in the end, right? So instead of doing a $20,000 earnest money, do a $50,000 earnest money. You're going to get your earnest money back unless you just walk away with no legal excuse. So it's an inexpensive way to convey to the seller that you are very, very serious about purchasing their home.
Well, in a sense, it's free.
Because
it's going to go into the deal anyway, and it's sort of a shiny object for the it's sort of like for the seller, they're like, oh my goodness, and it is kind of a shiny object. So
well, it puts that money in escrow, and again, the seller knows you can get that money back if for some reason you're financing. If you keep a financing contingency in there, and your financing falls apart, you'll get all your earnest money back. So. It's a way to strengthen your offer, essentially not costing you any money. So I love that as a strategy. So stay informed about market trends. That's what I'm here for. That's why I put together Stats by Cat so that, we can stay right on top of the market with my buyers and my sellers so that, we know exactly what to expect when we get out in the trenches. So, and then stay resilient. Don't give up. So I've had clients, we've had to make 20 offers. Now, I don't recommend doing that. That's a lot of work. But, usually people figure out fairly quickly that the market is going up and that, that the offer review dates usually do yield more than one offer. And they sort of get used to the process of what their choices are to compete. So not everybody's going to want to employ all the different options. So, but just try to hang in there. Try not to give up. I've had clients that would just move on the very next day. They're like, okay, Kat, what houses came on the market? Let's go look at them. And I'd be meeting them at 3:00 in the afternoon every single day on another house and writing another offer. So it gets kind of crazy out there in the spring. So
wait a minute. Here we go. Stay resilient.
Yeah, stay resilient. Don't give up. So I have a couple of words of caution.
You've got three do nots.
I have three words of caution, 3 different sections where I think 3 things you should not do. One of them is do not waive your inspection, your home inspection, or your sewer scope inspection. Do not waive those under any circumstance unless they've been provided. On newer homes, I'm not as concerned about the sewer scope inspection, 20 years or newer, but home inspections, absolutely. Even if it's a new construction, you want a home inspection. Don't forget that.
I got to tell you something, Kat. I don't know if it's ever gonna take, but I think they should try to come up with some more pleasant euphemism, a different name than sewer scope. Sewer scope, it just conjures up bad thoughts. It doesn't sound good.
It reminds you of medical procedures.
A medical procedure, yes. It just doesn't. It's anyway.
Not good, Dan.
I think they ought to come up with another name for sewer scope, but until then, we'll have to go with sewer scope. That's a shame.
For this, guys, they send a camera down the little pipe, Oof.
Okay.
Comfortable.
Moving on to.
So, do not waive your financing contingency if you are financed.
Do not. Yes, do not.
And then do not give part of the earnest money to the seller as a non-refundable deposit. Don't do that, because you might as well essentially waive all your contingencies at that point. So don't do that. Don't do non-refundable earnest money if you can help it.
I will say this, though. I will say this. Let me interrupt on one thing for the do not waive financing contingency. Because sometimes you get into a pinch in these bidding wars and you do things you really shouldn't do, right? It happens sometimes. You waive things that you really probably shouldn't waive. Maybe an inspection gets waived where it shouldn't be waived.
No, not on my watch, Dan.
But
that shit don't happen here.
You never know. It could happen. But let me just say this. As far as the financing contingencies are concerned, if you didn't want to have so much, concern, anxiety about waiving that financing contingency, if you've already gotten fully underwritten and you're all ready to go, you don't really have that risk at that point. It's something you can give up, and it's a freebie because you've put sort of kind of.
You want to keep your financing contingency in play just for the appraisal aspect of it.
That's true. That's a good point.
And plus, if you lose your job, right? So the way I explain it to a listing agent when I'm representing a buyer, and that my buyer is fully underwritten, it looks just about the same as cash. So the only thing that could go wrong at that point would be
the appraisal, maybe
something catastrophic happening, right? So my buyer loses their job, right? Something catastrophic. So because there's a good chance that the buyer has already also submitted a 22 AD, which is additional down, which that would make up the difference between the appraised value and the purchase price.
Right.
And so, buyers are often covering that for the seller so that the seller feels comfortable taking their offer, knowing that they will get that amount.
Right.
At the end of the day, and it won't be impacted by the appraisal. So, but yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, don't
waive financing. That's my point. Yeah, this back to the financing. Don't waive financing, even if we've got you fully underwritten. I can sell that to a listing agent all day long.
Right.
It's almost the same as cash. So
almost,
yeah. So you want to talk about that investment property, Dan? We got a few more minutes left, and I got to bugger out of here.
That's right. Why you've got to get going? Because you've got punch and pie waiting for you. Punch and pie.
My dive bar in Snohomish. I gotta go get some pie with my friends, Lisa and Tony. And I don't think
let's look at that investment property. I thought it's very compelling over in Aberdeen. There's one over in Aberdeen.
It's in Aberdeen. It's in the 500-year floodplain, which I don't think you have to have flood insurance for.
Okay.
So, anyway, it's something we'd have to look into, but it's not in the 100-year floodplain. So that's the good news. So it's the property located 304 North Northeast Street in Aberdeen.
Yeah.
It's listed for $275,500. It's a duplex, and they're getting, so for the duplex, they've got a 3-bedroom unit that they're renting for $1,450 a month. And they've got a 2-bedroom unit that they're renting for $984 per month. And both of the units have washer dryers. And I am a big proponent if I'm showing an investor investment property for them to invest in multifamily. I like the individual units to have washer dryers. If they don't individually, then at least have a laundry room in the building. I think it encourages tenants to stay longer. And so you're going to have less costs of turnover. And turnover is expensive when you have property managers involved. They'll often charge a half a month's rent to release it, or a month. Like in my case up here with my rental in Woodinville, that's a month to release it. But in other areas, it's more traditionally a half a month. Plus, you're going to have, a little bit of vacancy, right? You're going to have at least some time for them to get it cleaned and stuff. So a couple of weeks. So, anyway. So I got a total So what have we got? We've got
We
so
got gross annual income of over $28,000 in gross annual income. That's pretty darn
yeah,
good.
so I did my calculations based on a purchase price of 260. And so do I have the whole thing here? I should have it all here. Yeah, I do. Okay. So I did the calculations based on a purchase price of 260.
Yep.
And so your income, your gross income for the first year, I know I have that on here. Your gross income for the first year would be $28,668. Now your expenses include property taxes, property insurance, property management, repairs and maintenance, water, sewer, garbage, and other various expenses, right? It turns out for this particular property, when I add all those things up and we're calculating 10% for property management. So a total of $7,826 in expenses for these particular units for the duplex. I'm also only calculating $1,200 for vacancy. So if you had more than one vacancy a year for the duplex, it would run you more than that. So, and even one vacancy could cost you more. I'm just saying on average, $1,200. You could use a bigger number in there for sure. I have repairs and maintenance at $200 a month. So if the home the duplex is in fairly good shape when you purchase it, hopefully it doesn't run you more than $200 a month in repairs and maintenance. So that's just how the number I've used. So we've got net operating income of $19,642. An annual debt service, so assuming you're financing 75% of it, your payment, by the way, on that, your payment on, so you're putting $65,000 down, your payment on the remainder would be $1,431 a month. So it's a nice manageable figure. So your annual debt service would be $17,170. And for a pre-tax cash flow, positive pre-tax cash flow of $2,472. So, and an after-tax cash flow, if we're calculating it based on a federal income tax rate of 20% and no state income tax, right? We're talking Washington here. So $3,381 per year, the first year, and it goes up in subsequent years, right? So your after-tax income would go up after that, depending on, of course, on what your expenses are. So it does come out positive cash flow. I like to see a little more positive cash flow there, but I think anything you can get to actually pencil, in Washington State, especially over in Western Washington, can be a good value. You often will have a little bit of upward trajectory just based on appreciation. So
well, that's the thing. If you can get positive cash flow from the start, that's a pretty doggone good situation. It's only going to get better, you would think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, because one, you have the option of raising rents over time.
Right.
Right. And you also have the option of potentially refinancing. I mean, if you're looking at a DSCR loan or properties, you're probably looking at, 8 or 9%.
Can I tell you just a quick little story on some of these DSCR loans?
Sure. I'm going to try to get lighting here.
The DSCR loans right now, it depends on the situation, but if you're a really high quality borrower, they have gotten dirt cheap. Holy cow.
Really?
Yes. I mean, they are, in some cases, I've seen some that with some lenders where the DSCR loans are actually lower than the Fannie Mae rates. That's hard to believe. Yes, I've seen it. Not very often, but
recently?
Yeah, like this week we were talking about it. I was talking about it with the lender rep. He's calling me up. Yeah, he called me up, says, "Hey, we've got this great deal on these DSCR loans. These rates are here, blah 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 blah." Great, hey, that's great to hear. And I'm looking at, so I go on the website, and I'm like, yeah, sure enough, they really, the rates are really, in some cases, if you're like creme de la creme of,
a creme de la creme buyer,
creme de la creme buyer,
creme de la creme investor.
Yeah, that's right. If you're top of the, you got a sizable chunk down and all that kind of stuff, great credit, all everything, the stars all align. The rates have really gotten very competitive on some of these DSCR loans because the lenders, are scrambling for high quality borrowers right now.
Right.
So, but it really does. I mean, more than any other loan I think out there in a lot of respects, that these DSCR type of loans, it's really scenario by scenario. So sorry about babbling on about that, but I thought it was an interesting
No,
conversation I had
I'm
earlier
glad
this
you
week.
mentioned that, because you guys the favorable loan products vary, just depending on timing, when you're going to make a purchase. You may be looking at a DSCR loan or a different type of a loan to get a better rate. So that's why you always ask the questions of the lenders, hey, what's the best, loan product right now for my situation, in case you have options.
Yeah,
So, but the point is that you could, if you buy now and you're getting the 8 or 9% interest rate on a
right.
property, the point is that there's a really good chance down the road you're going to be able to refinance that and lower your payment. So not only should we be able to expect increasing rents over the next 5 years, because you always have to think in terms of 5 years. I think when you're buying property, whether it's investment property or a personal residence, I think you have to think in terms of 5-year chunks of time. Don't plan on selling prior to that. And then you should be safe for appreciation. But also, if you were able to refinance during that time frame, then your cash flow situation will improve dramatically. Also, you might be able to pull money out and turn around and then buy another investment property, which is how people do that, right? So say you buy this $260,000 piece of property, which is, I took $15,500 off the price, but so let's say you pick it up for $260,000, and you take that $195,000 loan, I think is what it would be, or $185,000 loan. $195,000 loan, and you refinance that down the road and save yourself a point or two in interest, and actually maybe do some cash out, pull $30,000 out, and turn around and parlay that into another investment property.
Yeah.
So
it's very doable.
That's how you can build wealth over time, utilizing just what you've got, and making those payments, and and theoretically rents go up over time. So,
well,
then you have just general appreciation for the properties as well. And you and I took a look at investment properties in general, right, Dan? And we found out that fourplexes actually went up more than single family residential over the last, I think it was like 16 years or some really long period of time. It was pretty striking.
Yeah.
In some counties, it was really wild. Kitsap County is one of them. If you own fourplex down there, back there 10, 15 years ago, you did good. You're doing well.
That was a surprise, because the you always expect single family to do better than fourplexes for some reason. Maybe it's just
you just do. You just think that single family is always going to be like the best investment,
right? But that's not true. Yeah,
not necessarily.
No, I mean, you always think you're going to get the most appreciation on single family. You give up a little bit in revenue, right? But that's not always the case. Sometimes you get the best appreciation.
Of all the worlds, yeah.
And I shouldn't even say sometimes. I mean, the statistics were the fourplexes were the best deal.
Better investment over the long haul, and that's incredible, because not only would you have paid less, relatively speaking, than you would have for a single family home, again, relatively speaking, but you also would have gotten rents increasing all over that whole time frame, right? As well as escalated appreciation. So as opposed to a single family home. So it's interesting. I mean, in a lot of counties, a fourplex is doubled.
Well, and the other part,
100% more than single family. And I just found it very fascinating. I'm a numbers person. I love to see that. And I don't know how that shakes out down the road, if that, maybe we balance out a little more down the road, but I just think it's interesting.
It is. And I'm just going to throw in 2 cents too, but just for 2 cents. But if you have the fourplex, you've got the 4 incomes coming in. And as those incomes rise and as the value rises, you take the cash out, but you're still well supported by the incomes. It's a really attractive situation.
It is. And so, everybody says, I needed to cash flow, make me money. Well, that's an obvious. We all want that. But you just kind of have to look at the real estate market long term. And just like you do, not just like you do the stock market, but kind of in the same terms, you're in for the long haul, right? So you're not looking at what the market's doing between now and next year. you're looking at what it's going to do over the next 5 to 10 years, because that hopefully will become sort of a cash cow for you down the road, right? And if it doesn't, or you wind up thinking, I don't want a house in Aberdeen, or I don't want a duplex in Aberdeen, you bought it, in 2024 because some agent said, hey, it cash flows. and in 5 years you go, Kat, I don't really like that area. I don't really want a rental. You can 1031 that thing into something, somewhere else. So you can do 1031 exchange and defer your gains down the road. And I'm not an expert in 1031 exchanges. I just want to say that is a strategy. If you decide you don't want to be in that area, or you move, right? You move to a different state and you want to keep your investment properties close to home. You can 1031 that shit.
you know what they may say?
I'm gonna be late for my pie date, by the way.
Oh, we better. You know what? I have said.
We gotta wrap it up.
We gotta wrap it up. Oh, they're giving me this. I'm getting the signal.
Waiting, huh?
I'm getting the signal. Let's wrap it up, Dan. Let's get going.
Wrap this thing up.
We've got.
Hi guys. Hey, thank you, TikTokers. Thank you, Dan.
Oh, thank you, Kat. I hope you have a good time having whiskey and pie.
Well, at least the pie part, anyway.
At least the pie part.
I'm not 100% sure I'm gonna do the whiskey part.
Well,
might have to wait till I get home for the whiskey.
Might have to wait for the whiskey. Who knows? Well, Kat, have a good time. Have a great weekend.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
It's gonna be a good weekend. I can just feel it.
Thanks for joining us, you guys. We're gonna do this again next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Friday. I don't know how it happens. We got pushed back to Friday again, but
we might even do it on Thursday next week. You never know.
We could do it on Thursday. It's hard to say.
You never know.
We're sort of unpredictable right now.
But never on Sundays.
Usually my schedule. Normally my schedule that screws us up. Yeah, I get into some big builder project, and I'm
it doesn't screw anything. Everything.
They take a little time.
That's right. Well, have a good time. Have a good time over at the pie spot, and we'll talk again sometime next week.
Okay, sounds good, Dan.
Thanks, Kat. Have a great one.
Bye, Dan.
Take care. Bye-bye.
All right. I'm gonna. Oh, look, I